Hello, everybody, and we're on to the last full year of the decade in terms of the Premier League kit tier listings I'm doing. So we're into 1998, 1999. You can see the kits in their loving splendour down here. Let's get straight onto it in alphabetical order. So this Arsenal number, they changed their home kit this season. I think, do you know what? I figured out what I like about this. So effectively, one of the major changes was just putting this outline around the block of red. But it reminds me of the classic Ajax kit, except this panel is a lot wider. Normally, it would be just the sort of collar width stripe, but it's definitely got knockings of Ajax. No wonder Mark Overmars looks so good in it. That's going to be an S tier. I don't really like Arsenal, but they, their kits very rarely fail to hit A or S tier. So well done, Gunners. So there we go. Their away kit, however, you might recognise that was retained from the previous season. So last time we put that in A tier. So back in A tier. So again, another strong start from the Gunners. Right, Villa had a different sponsor this season. They moved on to LDV Vans, which has a nice logo, interesting enough logo. Could do again with being a little bit bigger, taking up a little bit more space. Not sure I liked the dimensions of the sleeves compared to the body, the claret body of the shirt. Collar's not bad. It's not the best Villa effort, but it's not the worst either. I think it's enough to take it into A tier, although I suspect it won't linger too high in A tier. Anyway, they're away. I'm a bigger fan of this. This shade of blue. It reminds me a little bit of a sort of maybe a couple of shades darker of that Man City, that bioluminescent City effort. You remember the Kappa shirts? It's kind of 2 shades darker, but still the same. We're in the same ballpark as that. So it's kind of a deep resonant blue, and I think the dark cuff line on the sleeves, not cuff line, sorry, shoulder line on the sleeves. I think only adds to it. It brings the shirt out when otherwise it could fade a little bit. So no, I'm a big fan of that. It's not quite enough for F tier, sorry, S tier even, but I will put that in A for now. Probably top of the A class for now. So Blackburn didn't do a lot. I mean, they're already onto a winner with their design anyway, so they tinker a little bit. You see, they've got some. I can't quite. Can't quite see exactly what the designs are. I don't know if that's part of their manufacturer logo, but they've got these sort of royal stripes with these logos running all through them. Quite subtle in the embroidery. CIS. That's a good sponsor. That's a good size as well. Nice, crisply defined sleeves, strong collar. We're in the column template here. That's a decent effort from Motorsport. So I'm half minded to put that in S tier. It's kind of, I'm between S and A, so I'm probably going to put that just behind the Villa away effort. However, this stands a chance. Again, you can see the same subtle patterns in the stripes embroidered in the background, but I do like these. I like these tiered stripes. They're they're bigger than pinstripes, but they're not enough to sort of sully the overall color scheme of the shirt. I really like that. That's a great collar again. They've gone for the column template again with the badge above the sponsor and then the manufacturer above the badge. Lovely sort of symmetry in this. That's S tier for me. So Blackburn roaring back strongly. Shame they got relegated that season, but nonetheless, that is a superb effort. Now Charlton. Charlton made it into the Premier League. Their first effort is strong enough. It's above mediocre, but not quite getting into those upper echelons. It's kind of weird. Obviously against the white background, it's this quite chunky edge of the shirt and along the sleeve of white against this background always just makes the shirt just shrunk in the wash. But yeah, I'm not sure that white necessarily adds to the shirt particularly. Yeah, mediocre patterns along the shoulders, and not a classic sponsor. So I might reconsider, but for the moment it's going in B. It's a bit unimaginative. Their away treads dangerously close to the ecru line, but I think it shades it down a bit darker to make it a bit classier and easier on the eye. I think that's stronger than their home. So Charlton away will go into A tier. Maybe with that Villa. Right, Chelsea. That was unchanged from the previous season. So you might remember I put the iconic autoglass Chelsea number from the era of Vialli, Zola, Mark Hughes, Dennis Wise. Let's put that in A tier where we put it last time, maybe ahead of that Villa number. However, they're away. That is a sign of things to come. That's a lovely kit. The white is very shining white. They've got this. I think the column template was a good idea for this. Autoglass. That's a fantastic sponsor logo. My only question mark is: do we really need these here? These little stripes that go nowhere. Otherwise, strong collar, brilliant crisp white, lovely contrast against the dark blue. And yeah, they did a very similar kit that was probably slightly a level above in the first Mourinho era, I believe, maybe Ancelotti. But that is a very strong effort. In fact, that if it wasn't for these silly little stripes that go nowhere are putting me off giving it full marks. But I think it is strong enough. We're going to put it. We're actually going to put that in S tier. Now their third, I really like that shade of yellow, and decent trim on the collar and cuffs. I'm not really sure what these this armpit webbing thing is. Is that to kind of indicate where you sweat the most? I don't know. That's a shame. I think that probably detracts from the shirt a little bit. Otherwise, that would probably challenge, I think, for S tier. But in the meantime, we're going to put that maybe relatively high in A tier. Now, Coventry. They went from variations of just sky blue to the previous season or a couple of seasons. They did the sky blue along with the navy blue stripes. Now, what they've done here is gone a bit schizo with which stripes are doing what. So instead of committing to just dark and sky blue stripes, they've toned down the sky blue. I mean, that's hardly sky blue. That almost looks like that Man City bioluminescent number, just toned down a couple of shades. This could have been quite nice. I like the multiple Coventry badges running up the stripe, but then they disappear as the stripes start fading up here. And then they decide, oh, well, we won't have stripes right to the edge. And they've done the bloody Charlton thing of having the big panel of white on the underside of the sleeve and right down the side panel of the shirt. And I don't like the V-neck. Coventry, you went down in my estimation this season. That's going in B tier. It's not the worst, and this could have been really nice. But yeah, I don't really like this either. Now they're away. I like that they tried something different. I actually quite like the colour scheme on these shoulder strips, but these colors are hard enough to match together, but the fact that you make the stripes too thin for my liking, and then a big panel at the side for what reason? A horrible V-neck. Why is this in red but then with a yellow box panel? Oh, Coventry. That's going in C tier. C for Coventry. S tier. I don't know what else to say about that Derby number. Only thing I can complain about is perhaps the sponsor. A little bit plain, but takes up a decent proportion of the shirt. Very smooth black trim everywhere and lovely collar. That's pure S tier material, probably above that Chelsea number. Their away number is not quite as strong. They've gone for the polo neck, which again is not my favourite choice, better than V-neck. This blue box, not so sure. Probably, I think should have probably been a bit brighter, to be honest. The trim's not too bad. I think that's probably only making top of B tier though. Definitely not as strong as the home. You might remember that Everton retained this kit. So from last season, I wasn't a fan of it at all. I think it's one of the weaker Everton kits that's going back into C tier, although I think it's slightly better than that Coventry monstrosity. This was stronger. Reminds me of a little bit of that Chelsea effort. Don't think these stripes add anything. In fact, I think that marks it down. The 1-to-1 logo, it's too small for me. The letters are too small. The total landmass here, too small. It's a shame. I like the old school Umbro strips over the shoulders, but no, these stripes, this logo, mark it down. So that otherwise might have challenged top of A tier. But in this event, we are going to put it perhaps top of B tier, I'm afraid. That's better. I think that's probably the strongest of the Everton kits, although again, what these bloody sweat patch webbing things. But lovely collar, lovely trim of the sleeves. Just really nice shade of yellow. So that will get into A tier. In fact, that's going to go top of A tier. On Toffees. Leeds were quite, you might argue, I don't know, what would you say, benevolent to their supporters? Because they were one of the teams that most often retained all three kits for more than one season. So I think they've done it at least once more in the Premier League era. And when I say once more, I mean the same three kits were retained for 2 seasons consecutively. So there were no changes in between those 2 seasons. So this was another occasion that they did it. So they've carried over the 97-98. So the home made it into C, the away made it into A, and their third was, I believe, in B. So they were all over the place. So home made it into C. Away made it into A tier. And the third made it into B tier. Okay. Leicester City, eh? So Leicester, I think they got quite a strong shirt the previous season. There's an argument that this is potentially their strongest shirt in the Premier League, or right up there. Superb collar, good, lovely cuffs. One complaint, I think the Walkers logo should be slightly bigger, even if you're going to just do the Walkers without the crisps. That logo's nice, but I think it needs to take up a little bit more real estate on the shirt. Maybe the badge could be a bit bigger as well. But nonetheless, that is strong enough to make it into upper echelons of A tier. They're away. That's a lovely white. Same things I love about the home shirt. That's pretty much going to be a twin up there in A tier. Now, if that had the collar of the previous two, I'd be right on board. But of course, this was retained from the previous season, probably why it retained that nasty V-neck. That was an A tier from the previous season, so that's where we're going to put it again. So in fact, we're going to have the... no, we're not. We're going to drop it down a bit lower, I think. As for Liverpool, they went with a polo neck this season. Yeah, I remember this being a very striking kit for that reason. Obviously the polo neck and the sleeve cuffs were both very rounded. Rounded in the same way. They had, I mean, look, they have the same dimensions. Normally, you'd say, oh well, the sleeves have a long puff at the end, but no. Or at least on the short sleeve version, it was the same dimensions as the collar, which was interesting to me. They've gone for sort of a miniature beer mat design of the Liverpool badge. I'm not sure if that really works. Otherwise, it was an interesting enough kit. I think it's strong enough to make it into A tier. So maybe not that low. Let's put it up there. This, I remember not liking this at the time, but you know what? When I look back and I see stills of players from that era and the Liverpool players from that era, Paul Ince, Michael Owen, Jamie Redknapp, these kind of players, and I see them in this kit, I think, damn, that's a good looking kit. That's quite an iconic kit. Again, Liverpool fans, do you really like this miniature beer mat version of the badge? And V-neck marks it down, but I think that's still strong enough to get into A tier on the aforementioned merits. Probably ahead of the home. In fact, let's put that about there. Actually, was that the kit where Phil Babb was that where Phil Babb lost his ability to sire children, or I might be thinking of a different kit. Anyway, this beauty made it into S tier last time, and I see no reason why it can't repeat the feat. Although I'm nudging it probably behind that Derby number. Manchester United in their iconic treble season, this was obviously their home shirt, so that's going to get a lot of marks from anyone because of that reason we discussed before, the champions bias, perceived value of some kits. Nevertheless, there are a lot of very nice things about this kit. Normally, I wouldn't like a random stripe running across, segmenting the main panel of the shirt from the sleeves, but it's quite interesting where that starts and how it sort of curves with the natural curvature of the arm. I like these retro Umbro logos running all along the shoulder area. Nice iconic cuffs, and again, how many iconic moments were in this shirt. So I think because of what the shirt happened with the shirt, amongst that probably tips it over the edge. I'm putting it into S tier, although I don't think highest of S tier, but nonetheless, this, you may remember, was unchanged from the previous season, and the previous season it made it right into the dregs. D tier. I didn't like that design at all, particularly the ribbon across, or the ribboned panel across the midriff of the shirt. However, this, that is one of the finest away or third efforts from United since probably the black, gold and blue. I really like this shirt. This is probably the only thing marking it down is, again, these armpit webbing things. I don't know what they're meant to do other than draw attention to where the sweat collects. But again, the only thing you might mark it down for, where's the view cam? But otherwise, love the deep dark black. It's a lot darker, obviously, than the black and gold, because the black and gold actually had subtle stripes, and it was quite a light shade of black along with a darker shade of black. This is just all deep dark black, and a lovely sort of lime green and white ribbon trim on the collar and cuffs. So that's going very high. In fact, I might put that at the top I'm not saying it will remain there, but right now that's probably my favourite. Not the absolute strongest, but I like this. I like this effort from the Borough. It's I don't know. It's kind of looks a bit kind of futuristic with these striped patterns. Strong shade of red, nice collar. I think that's solid enough to make A tier. Probably around there, yeah. They're away. I always thought this was a strong kit. Now, I think what makes the difference with this, because you may remember, I mean, Coventry's home city is a bit similar to this. There's a few subtle differences. One being the stripes are meatier. And when I say stripes, obviously they're not all the same width, but the ones that are the same width are the colour rather than the white, which makes the difference. And also this subtle outlining makes them really stand out against the white stripes. So I think that's a really strong effort. I'm minded to put that at the bottom of. I'm going to put that at the bottom of S tier. In fact, no, I'm going to put it just ahead of that Chelsea number. Yeah, that's how strong I feel about that. I think that is a really strong Borough kit, one of the strongest. Uh, this wasn't my favourite Newcastle kit. It was unchanged from the previous season, and you may remember we put it, the Royal We, put it into B tier. So that will, I think, okay, will that at least be top of B tier. The away number, that's a shame because their away, remember for the previous season, I think it got into S tier, and I thought it really tried something new. Although it was again similar to this color scheme, it's always kind of a dark shade of orange along with a I don't know what shade of blue you'd call this, almost like a midnight blue. Now, again, like the color of the trim, I don't really know if these really add anything. I think maybe if you got rid of these, that would bump this a lot higher. But the colours are nice enough, and it's a decent collar. We'll put it into A tier, low A tier, I think, for that. Maybe ahead of that Charlton number. Right, Forest made their return, I believe, this season. Again, I'm not sure what these add, but at least they're a bit higher. So it's something different. This is a dismal sponsor. It just nothing's big enough or bold enough or stand out enough. It looks like a business card with a font printed far too small unless you sort of have a jeweler's eyepiece. That's yeah. I think the sponsor completely kills this. If that had Labatt's, that would be a winner, I reckon, with the old style Labatt's logo. And they've gone for the column with the badge, then the Umbro above rather than spread either side. Yeah, I mean, I guess this season that's the idea that Umbro had because I guess they put a similar. They did a similar mid shoulder. I don't know what you want to call it. Mid shoulder barrier stripe on the United home kit. Yeah, I feel bad, but I think it's almost entirely down to this sponsor that makes it to top of B tier. Sorry, Forest fans. See, that's better. That's a much better use of a sponsor logo. Like, if there's nothing else interesting happening, just at least make the font, the typeface, the font size rather, big enough to really stand out. Nice, simple but effective Forest badge as well. These are quite nice. I think they do good things on this otherwise bold white kit. Nice collar, although that collar just reminds me a lot of sort of Manchester United away. But anyway, that's a strong kit. That will make it to A tier. I think there for now. I think they've tried a lot. I think they've thrown the proverbial at the wall, and not much of it stuck, to be honest. they've decided to whittle down the pinnacle again. They've simplified by removing all parts, visual parts of the logo, and just put the word pinnacle, which I don't think really works. About the only, it's a shame because it's quite a nice shade of blue if you did something good with it. I don't think these work. I just don't think these colours and where they've put them and the shape of these tabs, the collar just seems to be a bit of a mess. Doesn't know what it wants to be. That, I'm afraid, is C tier. That was Wednesday's retained home kit, and you may remember that made it into our best of the previous season. So once again, I think Wednesday are going to probably go right up there in S tier. You know what? No, they're actually going to nudge ahead of Arsenal. I think this looks better to me with the long sleeves. I think I would like it less with short sleeves. However, Sanderson is possibly S tier of all historic sponsor logos. Maybe I'll do a separate video of sponsor logos. Anyway, Sanderson, one of the iconic sponsor logos in 90s Premier League football. Collar decent. I quite like the fact that it's almost like no, I was thinking of a comparison that doesn't work, but I like the gold panel followed by the thick black panel that covers the sponsor logo, and then white. So you got white, black, and gold, all with substantial real estate on the shirt's total area. Nice badge. Very tidy kit, actually, Wednesday. That will go into, I think that's probably I think just behind Leeds Away in the A tier. That's one of Saints' strongest numbers, I think, in the early Premier League era. I think it's just the letter S that they've embroidered into the background on these stripes. So, I don't know. Anyway, that was a retained kit, and that made it last time into A tier, which it will do again. I think maybe up there. The away, though, was different. They mixed up for the away, and these are traditional Southampton. Put my teeth in. Southampton colours. Nice shade of yellow, very nice bright blue, almost an Everton blue, really. I think the panels at the side, I'm never quite sure, but they're thin enough to have an effect without dominating the shirt. And they've got a little reprise up here. You nearly did it perfectly, Saints, other than this awful pinstripe V-neck collar. However, I think that's going to be a strong contender in the A tier. This was retained, so Southampton's third was the same the previous season, and this made it into A tier and will again. So Pony were picking up their game a little bit in the last sort of couple of years of the millennium. This Tottenham number was the last unchanged kit that we're going to see, and I wasn't particularly moved on it last time, and I'm not particularly moved on it now. Nothing's changed. That's going into B tier, probably lower half of B tier. Okay, their away number. These again, which again I think detract from the show. Like, hear me out. I think this has all the makings of an absolute iconic kit. That Spurs badge, does it always look like that? I always thought the Spurs badge stood out a little bit more than that. Okay, maybe I don't like the shape of the outline of the badge either. I don't like these. I don't like the collar. If we changed all of those, say we'd removed these, change the collar to a proper fold down collar, maybe with some buttons or laces, and long sleeves, that would be S tier of S tier for me, because I love that. It's like a velvet purple. Yeah, it does have a bit of crushed velvet about it. However, though, that's a scenario that doesn't exist here. all those things are there which detract from the kit it could have been. That's getting bottom of A tier. That easily could have got right up in S tier's grill, but choices are made and mistakes are made. Okay, fair play. I'll cross my arms in front of me to say, well done, Irons. I think that's potentially West Ham's strongest kit, at least in the 90s, because it retains. I think it's very similar to the previous seasons. I don't think it's exactly the same template, but very similar. They decided to go for the claret just on the panels and underarms. Oh, sorry, panels and under part of the sleeve and the collar. I think that works, just restricting it there. They've got subtle striping. I guess that's kind of okay. Dr. Martens is just iconic though. Possibly, I think you could again increase the size of the font there, take up a bit more of the shirt. I think that could have maybe. I'm actually going to. No, you know what? Despite having misgivings, that's still going to get into lower part of S tier. So I think this may be, even before we've got to the end, and I think the end, you know what's coming at the end, but I've got to say that this, I think, is the strongest Premier League season so far. So the last full Premier League season of the 90s had the most S tier kits in the season, I believe. And the West Ham away, no, that's bad. That's just bad. I don't like that at all. That's getting into yeah, top of C tier. Just so mediocre. That's bottom of B tier. Now, I told you a lie earlier. The Tottenham home wasn't the last retained kit because, like Southampton, which other team didn't change any of their three kits from the previous season, it was Wimbledon. The Wombles of Wimbledon retained their three, remember, their three S tier kits. All three of their kits, S tier. And I may have explained last video, but just to go through it again, I absolutely love Wimbledon's colour scheme in general. They have all the best colours in the 90s. The navy blue, the deep dark navy blue with the dull yellow, not quite gold, a couple of shades off gold, but yellow trim everywhere. And Ilonex, just a sublime sponsor logo. And this particular season, they had this funny sort of pinstripe V-neck coming from a proper collar, down from a proper collar, and they repeated it. Little subtle reprise there on the cuffs of the sleeves. And you see they got that template all the way through. They had their classic scarlet yellow, scarlet red. I'm sure I do know the word for that shade of red, but in the meantime, I'm just going to call it scarlet red. Some subtle stripes. Otherwise, the same template, scarlet red, but with black trim. And the third was really shiny white trim, white with black trim. Again, the Ilonex is classic. The crazy gang stitching. So yeah, Wimbledon, they tickle my pickle over and over again in terms of kit quality. Question is what order? I think maybe the home top of class. I think the away probably gets there. And this isn't the finest version of the Scarlet, so we're probably going to put the Scarlet a little bit further down, maybe there. Okay, so that was all the kits from the 98-99 season. Let's see if we're happy with the order. Oh, only one in D tier. So, I mean, yeah, you're seeing the... I have to check the other videos to be certain, but you're seeing the strong evidence that this was the strongest year of the 90s thus far on our journey. The strongest in Premier League kit designs. We've had the least amount in the D tier, and we've had the most amount in the S tier. So where are we? So we got Wimbledon home, United third. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then Wimbledon away, Sheffield Wednesday home. Ooh. Am I doing Sheffield Wednesday a disservice? No, I don't. I think I'm happy with that. Then we've got Arsenal home, Blackburn away, Wimbledon third. Sorry, Wimbledon away. That's Wimbledon's third. Very strong derby number. Love that Liverpool away. United's home, Manchester United's home shirt from the night for the treble season. A very classy away shirt for Middlesbrough. Possibly West Ham's finest Premier League shirt of the 90s. And a precursor for what was to come with a Chelsea away effort that was just mostly sparkling. Right, and we've got the Leeds away, Sheffield Wednesday. Do we want to move any up or down in this one? Maybe I was a bit cruel on that Tottenham one, just because I love that crushed velvet shade of purple. Maybe going to move that up there. Okay. Forest. No, I'm dropping West Ham down to C tier. Yeah, so punishing them there, but they did get one in S tier this time, so button it hammers. With Forest, Newcastle, Leeds, Spurs. No, I think that's about right. Yeah, so there we go. So that is the 98-99 tiers listing. Let me know if you agreed or disagreed. And I hope you're having a pleasant day wherever you are. I shall hopefully I will hopefully be back with another tier listing soon.